Hey everybody, it's your friend Sarmate here, back with another episode of Settlement Survival. I hope you're having a fantastic and amazing day today. I've been doing a little bit of progressing in between episodes here. I wanted to get the third statue as high as we could, but I got interrupted by another snowstorm. So I paused it right before the snowstorm hit because I wanted to bring you back and show you what the heck might happen with our town here. As soon as I saw the snowstorm on the timeline here, I started to take some actions to deal with that. So the couple of things I did here, I put in another extra tailor that's going to be built in right over here. It's ready to go. We've got some linen that we're going to need to make those clothings, so we're going to get that started. We started to do extra fuels. You can see we're up to 551 fuels. So I went around all the sawmills. I made sure we had 3 people. That's great. It's happening. And we are at a good amount of extra people. So we're at 36 laborers, which is amazing. It's great. We have 96 builders right now, so we have 332 adults. So I'm not going to count the kids yet. So before the snowstorm hits, I have wrote down how many adults that we have. We're going to see how many people we lose. Hopefully it's not nearly as bad as last time. We have a couple extra laborers to fill in as needed, and we can always back off some builders if we have to. So this is about to hit here, so while we're waiting for it, I'm going to just tell you about some other stuff that we've been working on. There's a snowstorm. So I was wondering if... So I've been putting builders as like the priority worker, right? To try and get as many hammers and stuff done as quickly as we can. And I feel like with almost 100 builders, like this should be like really fast building, but it doesn't really seem that way, and I'm not really 100% sure why that is. I think it's because of the travel distance, but I'm not certain on that, because once stuff is up here, it goes pretty well. So I think it's partly the travel distance. So what we did to deal with that is we put in this little town. I had mentioned doing that quite a while ago. We did kind of put in this like halfway mark over here. Not much, a couple houses, bathhouse, clinic, just basic stuff, nothing too crazy. But over here I have a standard farm. We're going to have each animal here, and then this is going to be a tailor down here on the south side. So what I want to do is have our flax in here. We're going to process flax. We're going to make clothes straight up from there, and then we could even maybe use some alpaca fur to make some clothing as well. So this is going to be kind of a little contained area, and that's going to be for the builders here. That's what my main hope is. So, you know, we got to just check in here and see like who's living here. Hopefully we have some builders. It doesn't really look like it. Lots of foresters, a couple builders, not many. But we're going to knock out these tents in here, and I'm going to put some more houses down in here. Also because we have 33 citizens who want new houses. So it's something I want to get. You know, we've been working hard to get all the tents out of here. I tried the tents down here and it worked okay, but I'm just going to develop a little town. I think it'll be even better. That's what this plan is happening over here. And then for our techs, we have 3 tech points right now. And what I think we're going to do is we're going to get into this transfer station and the supply stations. We have brick and glass. I'll show you what I've been doing with that stuff. But we need steel, so that's an issue with the supply station that I overlooked at first. So I'm just going to grab the transfer station for now, and that's what we're going to worry about to begin with here. There's a lot of red snowflakes right now. We are at 24 free laborers. We had about 30 to begin with. We've lost approximately, well, we started with 332 people. Okay, and it sounds like that's finally it for this storm. It's still really, really cold, but the snowstorm has passed. And we're almost out of laborers. So we lost a ton of people again, almost 30 now. But we're doing okay. If this gets any lower, I'm gonna knock some of our, I'm gonna knock our builders out here. I just want to make sure that we have enough people to fill the jobs of all the people that are dying. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. I don't have the school back up yet. I was thinking about it, and then I saw the snowstorm, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't put that back in yet. So we're just gonna level it. We're just gonna wait a second, watch this level out, and see what we have left as soon as we're coming out of the winter here. It's still super cold though. We had not enough domestic fuel, so that stinks because I thought 500 would be enough. I'm gonna go 1,000 on this. We have an okay amount of timber, because what I've been doing is, as you might have noticed, like this is all bare down here, and we did it in a couple episodes ago. I just took the command here, felled a bunch of trees. Down south didn't really matter a whole lot. It was a good boost in our timber stockpiles, and I'm gonna do that up here as soon as this grows out as well a little bit more. I think that's a good thing to do. It seems to help move this along a little bit better, and we're gonna need 1,000 timber to build the next one anyways, in about 1,100 hammers here, so we're gonna need it anyway. So that's why I did it. We'll probably do a little bit more than that even. So one good thing about what just happened here with the snowstorm is it's gonna help our happiness, because we only have so many spirits that we can make, right? And there's a high demand because of how many people we have. We can't keep up with it, so we're getting see, now we're in the red. We were in the yellow, now we're in the red. So with less people, there's going to be more spirits to go around, so the happiness will increase. That's another thing that I wanted to touch on. So the only way we can do any better with spirits is with these structure remodels. That's a different name, I think, for that. I think it was upgrades before. The one that I had in mind was this one, additional jobs. For well, we need luxury furniture for that. In order to get to luxury furniture, it's kind of a thing. We need to get into processing a little bit here. We're gonna have to get all the way down to refined leather, which I think just takes some silk and some leather, which we have both those things. We could do that. Or I say silk, salt, and some leather. We have both those things. And the other thing we're gonna need, the other thing is going to be construction furniture. And that's how we get down there. But the problem with that is we need 3 more points to get this far. So, and we need some steel, so it's ways out. And then you were gonna need that good leather anyways. So before we can do any of that, progress wise, we're gonna need to get into that fine leather. But I picked the transfer stations as our next item to build, just to kind of distribute the things that we have a little bit more efficiently. So these transfer stations have been kind of confusing for me and a couple other people too. So I'm gonna do my best to try and explain what they accomplish. So they're really, really handy. And when I finally realized how good they were in our last playthrough, I just said, well, I'm gonna get these way more soon than I did in the previous playthrough. So that's why we have them already. So what's gonna happen with the transfer station? I'll read this first. So this says workers inside will transport stored items to warehouses outside of the range. Okay, so this transfer station that's here, this is the only part of our town that is making salted fish. Well, when they have fish to do it with. So what's going to happen is eventually, instead of like it just going straight to this warehouse and hanging out in the warehouse for forever, it could be loaded up into this transfer station, and then the people who are way over here will be able to have access to the salted fish, because it will be brought to this well, if this warehouse was open, it would be placed in here, so then they would be able to access it. So what these do is that transfer stations are just good ways to move your goods more easily throughout the town. Things go into them, and then stuff that's brought into them gets distributed out. So that's the best way that I can describe them. You just spread out what you put into the town. So that's why I put 3. I put 1 over here to deal with the food that we just mentioned. I put 1 over here because it's in a locale with a bunch of other people. And there's not really a single product here, except for maybe the herbs that these guys could ship out. And then over here is really nothing that they could ship out. But I figured, let's put it in there and we'll see how it goes. But you can see here, we need brick, we need glass. So what I did some time ago is we put in our kiln and our kiln over here. So we didn't have refined fuel for forever. We got that going. Just put that in. We're making glass and we're making some bricks. And while it's not a lot, we got it going. So I don't want to go too crazy with it. I'm going to keep it at 1 for now. 1 person each working. And we're just going to slowly have the transfer stations and be able to progress that way. I also noticed that our graveyards are quite full, so I need to deal with that real quick. And over here as well, this is the only spot that's making fuel factory, I just read this, fuel factor, making refined fuel for us. So once this stuff is made, it can be brought down to the transfer station, and then it can be carried over here to one of these warehouses. Oh, got something that got popped up. One of these warehouses, and then it can be used by the facilities over here. So what this is, construction fever. The propagation of doctrines will strengthen religious beliefs and double the construction speed of the statue. Do you want to start the propagation? Ooh, double the construction speed of the statue. Every month there are workers dead from hard work. Oh boy, that's something. Wow. That's really hard. That's a hard choice. So, okay, so we're getting 12 births every season. So, okay, let's say we lose 5. I mean, that's almost half of our workers that we could be losing to hard work. I don't know how, I mean, I'm just giving it a random number, but that, man, that's a lot. But to double the construction speed could be huge, because it's one of my biggest things. Is like, this just takes forever. I think we're gonna do it. Let's do the, I'm scared. Double the production speed, but let's do it. We have so many builders, this should go very, very quickly, I would think. I'm already surprised that it's not going quicker, to be honest with you. So I paused this because we were low on brick and glass. It seems to be good now, so I turned it back on, and then we're gonna get started. So over here, like I mentioned, I wanted to put in each of our animals, so let's go ahead and we'll do that. We got our turks, we got our alpacas, and we got our buffalo, and we're going to need to split these out from our other corrals, of course. So we're going to separate into this pasture. We're going to separate out into this pasture. Oh, and that's turkey, so our buffalo right here. And we're going to separate out into this pasture. So these are, again, 7x7s, just like the other ones. That's just the number that I like to use because it seems to work pretty decently. We're down to 7 laborers. So we lost in that kerfuffle there of the snowstorm about 50-ish people, a little less than 50. So that's a big deal. So we have to really pay attention up here. If we get another snowstorm, to know that I'm gonna lose about 50 people, and by the time it hits, I need to have like 50 laborers ready to roll here so that we can fill positions like we did. But we can see that almost everything that's bad, almost everything is red here. So we're gonna have to do some flexing around. I think one thing that would be good is we need some more fish. We have only 8 workers right now. We do have a good amount of food, but I would like some more simple food coming in. So we don't have a whole lot of fish. I think that would be a good thing to start working on a little bit. I'm not going to use up our laborers yet. I'm going to shift some builders, I think, but I just want to take stock in what we're doing. I'm not going to jump onto it immediately because we have 25,000 food saved up, and let's just take a check on our graph here, and we're okay. We're kind of, it's getting there, like getting negative, but we have enough things in place where I feel like we can make that up. Because we have 3 docks and 2 of them have no people in them. We could easily throw some people in there and get that kicked back up. Oh, it looks like I have a standard farm that isn't running as well. So yeah, we have the food things in place. I'm going to use up a little bit of our stock before I do that. It's pretty much the same deal with our water, our beverages. So this is getting bigger. We don't have our, what are they called, reservoirs. We only have wells around town. But I think we have some space. Yeah, so we have space in some of our wells as also. So that's great. We can just throw in a couple people there. And I think that's what we'll do right now. I'm just going to put 1 here and I'll put 1 here. So we're back down to 7 laborers. Okay. We do have a good stock of water as well, but this is pretty big. So I want to just shrink that a little bit. We can use up some of the water we have. Should be okay. Let's take a look at medicine now. We did just put in another nursery. So we have 4. What? Total workers in profession 58. That's crazy. It's not right. Oh, it's farmers. That's why. Okay. So yeah, we have 4 nurseries. So we need, it looks like we need at least another one. We don't have a nice huge stock as the other guys. So we'll probably do that before we put food in. So let's go ahead and we'll do that right now. And since this is our little area where we're doing that, the nursery spot, I think I'm just going to put another one right next to it. Again, the transfer station is going to help move these goods out of here. So yeah, here's stone tools from right here, ready to ship out as needed throughout the town. Okay, wood, 5,000 isn't bad, but it's in the red, and we're about to use a bunch of it. for this. So yeah, that's not great. We're gonna have to cut down some trees like we were talking about before once this growing season is over. We're in April, so they're planting right now, so I need the farmers where they're at. And then stone and iron ore have been red for a while. We have a good amount of stone saved up, and I have a quarry ready to roll right over here, and we're picking a little bit at it, but not much, so I'm not too worried about either of those two things. The domestic fuels, I'm kind of at a loss for that, because I feel like we shouldn't need to be using it as much as we are, but I mean, we gotta have it, I guess. So I keep that up to 1,000, so that's gonna hurt our timber, and I think that's part of what's going on with the timber. But again, we got 5,000 saved up, so we should be okay. And these are also using poop in some cases, down to 23. Okay, so this, we might have ran out of poop, so that might be the thing here. I'm gonna put that to domestic fuel, and I think this guy's also, yep, dried animal dung. Okay, so that's the deal. I'm gonna swap this to timber as well, so our timber is going to start to take a bigger hit, but we got to have that domestic fuel. I put it at 1,000. If we get it stored up, if another winter hits, we should be okay. Another snowstorm, I mean, hits, we should be okay. Smithy, the tools, where are we looking at? 353 tools. Okay, so we're still over our cap, but we're not doing great, so I'm just going to keep an eye on it. You know, if this starts to go way low, we're going to have to do some adjust, but for now I'm going to leave it. And then our clothes have been kind of an issue. 163. I think, remember we were making shoes? I think shoes count as clothes, and I think our reeds have been keeping up super well with the baskets and shoes that we have. So putting a couple more people into the reed farms might be a good idea for the shoe part of that. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna shift 2 builders from here, and we're gonna go one more reed farm over here. This one. So we'll get that harvested up. If we start to get too many, I'm gonna back them off again. We'll just keep flexing like we have been. That's what we need to do. We got our knitting workshop here making nothing because we have no workers here. So this is still recovering off that last wave. It looks like I haven't been running the knitting workshops, so that surprises me that we have no reeds. I wonder what we're using the reeds for, because we have the rope turned off as well, because we haven't needed rope for a little bit. So where are all these reeds going? Kind of weird. Well, I know where they're going. They're going right here to make shoes. So yeah, put in another reed farm, get a little bit of that going back up, and then we can get some more baskets going as well. So okay, this is another spot where reeds were going to, where the baskets right here. So that's good. And then for the actual clothes, like the rough clothes, I had mentioned that when we talked about this space over here, and that's what this guy was working on, some linens. But we do need to have our processor over here, our textile mill, which you don't have yet. So I'm gonna put that in as well. And then while we're over here, I'm gonna throw in some more houses. We have only 5 citizens who want new houses, because we did lose so many with that storm. I think that's why we're down to that many citizens. But we're gonna do this and get that ready to roll for more people, and just kind of keep providing the spots for them, and then we can knock out these tents as well. Yeah, this is quite the thing, guys. And then yeah, we got our 3rd statue ready to go there, all built up. Up over here, we're hammering away. Yeah, I don't think this is twice as fast as what it was before, and I haven't been catching in the text here if we have been gotten hit on them working too hard and dying because of it. I'm just gonna quick look. Still got a dang old murderer. Elvis got hit by a meteor and died. Kind of crazy. Alleged builder died in childbirth. Yeah, so nothing crazy. It looks like they've been working to death. So that's kind of interesting. Oh, so I wanted to share a little story about that meteor that we just saw in here. When we were little, we were at my friend's house that lived across the street from my parents' house, and we were just playing upstairs in one of the rooms, and we saw this like bright flash outside, and we thought somebody was like throwing fireworks in the yard or something, but we ran out there in the next morning, and there was a burnt spot in the yard where it was like maybe the size of like a quarter. A meteor had hit the yard, which is crazy. It was feet from the house. So just a little personal story there that I remember from when I was little, because it was pretty cool. I love that space stuff, so to have that little space experience was kind of cool to me. But back to our game here, we got a couple more laborers coming in. That's great. So our birth rate is is about perfect right now. We are gaining more laborers than we're losing, which we need to do, of course, get our population back up. So yeah, we already gained about 10 adults, so that's great. That's what we need to be doing. Keep that up. Got open house here in the apartment. That's good. That means people are in their own houses. And we got a couple built over here, so these just need to get hammered out, then they'll be good to go. This thing, what do you need? Nothing? Stone, iron ore, okay. And I think once we get some builders moving over in here, then this should get better and better. I can see that we don't really have any builders over here. I wish there was a way to dictate a little bit better on, I want, you know, Bill and Joanne to live in this house and they're going to both be builders. I wish I could do that somehow. There's no controls for that currently in the game. I don't really know how you would implement that, but yeah, it'd be nice. Okay, so here's an example of salt getting all the way over here. So I wonder if I can even show you in the transfer station. So there's no salt that showed up here, but for this salt to get here, it's like, that's way over here. That's this building. Like that's like entirely across the map. So I'm going to blame that on the transfer station bringing it over there. Because that's just what makes sense to me. There's our nursery that we put in. We're going to have to get that built. And then our cemeteries are good to go too as well. That's what we needed. We got some peas going over here, leather, and then yeah, so this has everything pretty much. I got our wool, I got our turkeys over here, flax. So yeah, this is gathering this stuff, and then Evan is bringing it to out of range warehouses. I think there's a lot of things in this one compared to the other spots because this warehouse is pretty full. If this warehouse wasn't as full, my speculation is that they would be putting it in a warehouse instead. So I think we're going to throw in another warehouse right here. And these guys, oh, they all got people who moved in. So it looks like we need a couple more houses yet to get rid of those tents. We can easily do that. I'm just going to do, let's do this many for now. And then I'll get rid of these tents, have those people move in, and then we'll have a little bit of wiggle room left. So another thing that would be great over here, since these guys are cold, and then it's all like locally produced, is some heat stuff. So a sawmill. What do they even call it now? It's not furnace fuel, it's domestic fuel. Yeah, it's hard to keep up with these new names after playing for so long, calling the names to try and relearn them again, but I'm getting there. Our sawmill, we can do, it doesn't really matter. We could plop this guy down over here, get that going as well. That can make us domestic fuels, and we could do that with poop. So this guy was shipping the poop out, but we could call for it here and hopefully use it in this area. Textile mill, you're going to be using flax to make linen, please. And then we don't have to keep calling for linen from faraway places either. We can make our own stuff here. And since we need the clothes, I'm going to throw in one more worker here. There we go. And then that's going to be happy in just a moment. We should have the stone and iron ore for all this stuff, so that should be happy. And up over here, so we are in winter time, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the fell tree, and we're going to take this huge swath of stuff out again like we did before. I need to have this at least 9,000. It needs to be higher. So we're going to start that process right away, because this will be done. It's 40% built. So once this gets done, oh, it's 1,000 timber. But I think 10,000 timber, that would have been insane. It's 1,000 timber, so we're going to get this chopped down anyways, and then we'll have more of a stockpile. And the rope we already have taken care of, so that part should go very, very quickly. And then this part, hopefully, is going to go a little bit smoother since we got this town developed by it, and we have that double the speed. I think we are on a good trajectory here to get this completed. We have 4 more to do, but I think it's going pretty well. I'm happy with how we performed after that snowstorm. I was really worried about it again because it hurt pretty bad the first time. It hurt this time too, but we were a little bit more prepared. I caught it early enough to where we could have a little bit more domestic fuel saved up. We're even better now. Let's get some clothes going, and then we'll be even better. So one thing that I wanted to check here, I think that we can have better clothing. Oh, we can't. So only rough clothes. I was looking for the down jacket, I think it's called. You could use the alpaca wool and the linen together to make that stuff, and that's what I was looking for. Don't see it. But that aside, that's working anyways. And I think we're gonna have to grab some tech points here, and I think we're gonna have to move into some more mining stuff. There's stuff that's calling for smelting, and then we can get the steel, and then we can progress a little bit further. So that's gonna need a lot more iron. So before we even grab this, I think I'm going to put in a couple more mines and get a little bit more iron going. We do have a good amount saved up, 1800, but if we're using it and turning it into steel, we're gonna run out pretty quickly, I think. So I'm gonna put in, we're at 11, so I'm gonna put in 2 here. Gonna gain some more iron, gonna stock that up a little bit further. And you know, if we get into this mining here, we could start to get into the senior mine, but see, that's requiring steel and then lamp oil. So we can't quite do that. Well, speaking of the lamp oil, another thing that I wanted to do over in this area, because we have the meats from all these critters that are here, I wanted to put in a butcher over here, because then we can start making fats, and then we can start making soaps and those lanterns eventually. So we're gonna do a butcher right there, get that guy working. And then over on this side of town, we did have a butcher, but they're not calling for, they're calling for alpaca meat. Apparently we don't have any left. So let's just, what I really care about is the fat. So we're at 238 total reserves in fat, so that's not too bad. Another one put into place, we should be okay. I mean, it's not making a ton, 126 a year. That'll be all right. And then we can put in another soap workshop over here, and then we have basically 2 little towns that are functioning pretty well. And so this will be good to go, and then we'll have enough workers for these 2 spots. Doing great. And I think that's going to wrap up this episode. Thanks for coming in and hanging out with me. We got a little bit more hammering to do over here, and then we'll have that next statue ready to roll on the next episode. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you on the next episode of Settlement Survival, and I hope you have a fantastic and amazing rest of your evening, day, or night.